I have like 2 nights to like put together this reply, and one of them is gone now.
Okay, do
So
this first though. I sent you a private chat, but you didn't read it because you're a jigaboo or whatever. Can you pull this your give thing go up so that you can
yeah,
talk about it? I have to go to the bathroom,
well,
and
you
I would
just
really
pulled it up,
appreciate it.
didn't you?
I have it pulled up, but you can't control it. Do you want me to? Like, I didn't know if
I
you
don't
wanted to
know.
scroll through it.
I'll just share with you all, your audience here, that I am, and those of you who joined late,
Yes.
I am suing Judge Merchan, the judge who gagged Trump. And my reason for suing him is to try and get the gag overturned as being unconstitutional, and by issuing an unconstitutional order that results in violating my rights as a media to hear from him and report that to the public at large. And I believe that his a gag order that was issued is unconstitutional. You can go. I'll talk if you need to
Yeah.
go
What I was going to say
drain
is
the
I'm sharing
snake.
the link on Rumble, on YouTube. We're still on all platforms, Rumble, YouTube, and locals. I'm going to go to the
Right.
bathroom while you talk about this. I'll be right back. People should check it out. But here it is. And follow the link. Joe, I love you. I'll be right. Don't leave before I get
I'm
back.
not
I just
leaving.
have
I'm
to
not
pee real
leaving.
quick.
I'm not leaving. Anyhow,
Look, and
so
I changed it from my the chick from Cenk Uygur show, the Young Turks or whatever. Her is
Anna
Muhammad. I
Kasparian.
changed it to me as a fat guy instead.
Nice.
Just
I
for you.
doubt it.
I'll be right back.
I doubt it. So, yes. Anyhow, I am going to court in the. I'm pending in court right now. I have oral arguments before the First Department, which is the first level appellate court in New York, on Monday at 10 a.m. I'm in the middle of drafting my reply papers, which I do before I walk into court. And my theory as to the theories I'm presenting are that the judge misanalyzed the law and then misapplied the law, and that this is facially unduly prejudicial to his 14th Amendment rights for due process. Because here you have these outsider witnesses who are bashing him day after day, and it's illegal for him to respond to them. Those are the three primary arguments I present. The papers that were submitted in opposition do very little to refute the legal theories that I put out there. There's 37 pages. And the first 33 pages, they don't talk at all about my legal arguments. It's only the last 2 or 3 pages they even try refuting my legal arguments, and they do a pretty paltry job at that. Notwithstanding that, I am realistic enough to know that when I'm arguing the First Department is the appellate division that covers New York City, meaning Manhattan specifically, and the Bronx. The justices who are sitting there, who are very learned individuals, most people do not expect them to be very receptive to my legal arguments, and that they will probably reject it out of hand. I've already retained counsel to try and assist me on this matter. This counsel I retained is representing my company, because I'm suing as Good Logic LLC, and under myself personally, Joseph Neerman. And so he's representing Good Logic LLC, and I'm still coming in pro se. This way we can both argue. He can argue for Good Logic, and I can argue under my own personal interest. And we're both expecting I'm probably going to lose on Monday. I'm going to make it as strong a fight as possible. It's going to be televised. I plan on streaming it. It's going to be Monday morning at 10 a.m. And at that time, I'll have someone else streaming it for me, and you'll be able to watch me argue my case here in front of the First Department. We do not expect that I'm going to win. It does not seem likely that I will win, given the political climate here and other factors which make it seem unlikely that I will score a victory at this level. Assuming we do not win, we plan on appealing at the Court of Appeals. That's the highest court in the state of New York. If we don't succeed in the Court of Appeals, we plan on going to the Supreme Court. My attorney, who is someone who's very experienced in fighting against COVID restrictions and other based constitutional interests, is very confident that the Supreme Court will grant us cert, and that this will actually get before the Supreme Court. And he's very optimistic that we ultimately will prevail here. This is a fight for our First Amendment rights, as I keep saying over and over again. This is not about Donald Trump. While I have Donald Trump up there, and yeah, he would be the first beneficiary if we are successful here, this is ultimately a fight for our First Amendment rights. Because when they've expanded the usage of gag orders in the way that they have as applied to Donald Trump, that is a law that's on the books forever. Whether you love or hate Donald Trump, In 10 years, reality says he's not going to be part of our political landscape anymore. He's going to be ancient history. But these laws will be here in 10 years. They'll be here in 20 years, in 50 years. Your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will be dealing with this damage to our First Amendment rights, which New York and DC and these various judges are willing to twist and bend our constitutional protections and say, oh, we can issue a gag order here. And if they're doing it here, they're going to do it again and again and again and again. And that's why I'm in this fight. This is not about me. It's not about good logic. It's not about Donald Trump. This is a matter that I happen to be well positioned to engage in this fight. And that's why I'm fighting. Because I want my children to live in a country where our First Amendment rights still mean the same damn thing that it meant when I was growing up, which is something that is held inviolate. Accordingly, if you wish to support my cause here, we're expecting that the out-of-pocket costs, forget about attorney's fees, out-of-pocket costs for just applying for certiorari before the Supreme Court will be roughly $22,000 to $25,000. You have to pay $15,000 to an attorney who's a specialist in drafting cert, which neither I nor my attorney are. You need a specialized person who drafts these papers, and the expected cost of his work is going to be $15,000. The printing fees are $7,500. So these are our initial costs without any travel or any other things, just to get these papers in suitable form with a likely chance of success of cert being granted by the Supreme Court. And I recognize that we're working on an expedited timetable. Obviously, we want to get this gag lifted as soon as possible. So I brought this application before the appellate court on an expedited basis. And that's why, even though I filed these papers a couple of weeks ago, we should be reaching resolution on Monday. And then I plan on moving on an expedited basis before the Court of Appeals. And that could take a couple of weeks also. And then in theory, I can be running to the Supreme Court. I need to have the money there to pay someone to actually prepare these papers in the eventuality that we all think is most likely to happen, which is that the state of New York is not going to grant this application, and that we are going to need to seek relief before the Supreme Court of the United States. Accordingly, I set up a Give, Send, Go. It's very easy to remember because it's givesendgo.com/ungagtrump. I was very happy to see that that was available. It's
Ungag me, Joe.
givesendgo.com/ungagtrump. I'm going to be completely transparent with you and tell you this. I had to set initial money up, and I set up $25,000. I know, look, as this gains more recognition, especially, oh my God, if this thing is actually granted cert, and that would start getting national attention in this case, in that case, I can imagine that the campaign funds we raise would probably be far, far, far greater than are actually needed to cover out-of-pocket costs. I will tell you all this. The deal I made with my attorneys here is, assuming that we were to raise as much as $100,000, I personally would get none of that. I wouldn't get a penny of that until it exceeds $110,000 under the contractual agreement I made with my attorneys here. Because I don't want anyone to think that I'm doing this I'm doing this as some sort of grift to try and get MAGA to feed me money to help Trump. This is not about freaking Donald Trump. While I certainly pray that he wins the next election, this is not about him. Frankly, I actually think that his presidential odds are actually best if they were to convict him or throw him in prison. So yeah, and this gag order, it makes him a far more sympathetic figure. This is not about Donald Trump. This is a matter that if we allow the courts to actually recognize the fair administration of justice as being a legitimate basis to trample our First Amendment rights, you will have no rights at all. Because what they're really saying here, if you read their freaking papers, what they're really saying is it's not anything specific that Donald Trump is saying. It's that MAGA is uniquely dangerous. That is what this whole thing is about. It's a matter, MAGA is uncontrollable, and that he has the complete control over MAGA, and they are such a dangerous entity that we cannot allow him to communicate with MAGA about anything related to this trial. Otherwise, this trial will be upended, and all of a sudden there'll be chaos in the streets of New York. That's essentially what they're saying. That MAGA, they didn't try daring to try and muzzle MLK when he's the head of the black community. They didn't go after Malcolm X, which frankly would have been equally stupid, because even though they could have said, oh, he's a threat to fair administration of justice, if we're going to let him speak, in that case, black community is going to rise up here, and there's going to be all sorts of craziness. No. That was not a threat. That was not enough of a threat, nor should it have been at all. And if they had actually issued such a decision at that time, back in the 60s or in the 50s when MLK was being prosecuted, I'll tell you right now, we today would look back at that decision as so unjust, it would be comparable to the Korematsu decision because it's such a terribly stupid decision. And I'll tell you right now, 50 years from now, we will look back at this decision, if it's allowed to stand up, as being moronic and crazy and leading to utter chaos here. And that's why I'm fighting my tail off here. And I want to make as evident as possible that this is not about me making money. This is not about me or my rights or whatever. I just happen to be the person who, even though I don't feel like I'm fully capable of doing this on my own, because I'm a freaking commercial litigator. I'm not a civil rights attorney. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I am a recognized member of the media because of this stupid badge that they made me get. And I happen to be an attorney, and I happen to have enough belief in our Constitution that I say, you know what? I am going to go in there and fight with my stupid little slingshot like a crazy lunatic and put my neck in a noose here in front of the office court administration coming in there, sneering their noses at me, looking at me like I'm some crazy crackpot who's standing here coming and think that I'm some crazy Trumpist, not recognize the fact that this is not about Donald Trump. This is about our First Amendment rights, and I'm not going to let you just go willy-nilly off into the night and start changing all the rules here and start saying fair administration of justice, therefore we gag whoever we want because MAGA is so dangerous, because this is not about Donald Trump. This is about you. This is about me. This is about the next time any one of us who has any kind of microphone, I'll tell you right now, God forbid, if anyone you know, who you watch, who supports political activity or political perspectives that you agree with, I'll tell you right now, God forbid, any one of them ends up being prosecuted for something, they will say fair administration of justice and that this person has too many fans. He's got 20,000 fans who like him, and God knows what happens. If he tweets out, he's got to be silenced. Yeah, they need to be silenced. That's what's going to happen over and over again. Oh, this guy has a Twitter account which has 400 followers. We don't know what they're going to do if we allow him to speak. We have to gag him too. Every one of us is going to be ripe for a gag in the fair administration of justice, which means nothing. It's a made-up term. So that's why we have to stand up against this. And if I have to march all the way to the Supreme Court and pound on those doors and beg them to let me in there so I can pound on those doors and scream in the faces of those justices that, God, no, this cannot happen, I am going to do that. And that's why I say, look, I just want to have enough financial support that I actually can afford to get in there. So if whatever you can do to spare, to chip in on that, or you know what, even if you don't have any money, just a friendly message of saying, you know what, Joe, I appreciate that. Appreciate the efforts here. That would be meaningful too. So it's givesendgo.com/ungag Trump.
Look, guys, take the gag out of Trump's mouth and put it in mine. I'll actually like it. I'll pound on the doors of the judiciary as long as they gag me, choke me a little bit, and call me something derogatory. Joe's out here fighting. He's actually like, look, all jokes aside, us law tubers or whatever, we're people, we're passionate, we talk about subjects, we have some level of education, experience, or expertise, or some combination of all of those. We bring those to you people because all we want to do is never work a day in our lives again. But occasionally, someone says, you know what, this actually matters, and stands up. Joe has no reason to do this. Joe has a lot to lose here, because when you are a person who is involved in law tube or some legal thing, and you say, I'm a lawyer, I do this thing, the world doesn't get how the legal world works. And so you put your reputation on the line, you put your idea on the line, you put your concept on the line, you win, you lose, whatever it is. If you lose, people act like you're the worst person ever. You failed, you fucked up, you didn't have a case in the first place, because they don't understand how the legal system works. The legal system is adversarial. There is no sure deal. Even with the most sure of deals, you've still got a chance to lose because of the human element, because of anything. Judges having a bad day, they're on their free bleed period or whatever. You've no, like Judge Meacham or whatever, that guy free bleeds all the time. You have no idea what they're going to do, why they might make a particular ruling against you, why they might hold you back, why they might not allow a piece of evidence in, and that might be crucial to your case. So you put everything on the line, and most lawyers go out, they never have to put everything on the line. They operate in this private manner. They represent private clients. You can't look up a win-loss record. All you can do is try and get a best guess by word of mouth. When you're public and you're a lawyer and you put everything on the line, you go for it like Joe's doing, you're asking people to have faith in you and to recognize that this is a shot. This is a chance to do something right under the Constitution. There's a chance to protect the rights of someone, even if that someone is Orange Man Bad Super Cheeto with toupee. Like, you have to realize that all of Trump's cases, even if they have a valid complaint, all of them are not based on the validity of justice. they're all based on the concept of political persecution, of obstructing a political campaign that terrifies them, of ruining the name of a man who threatens them. And this is not unique to Donald Trump. The
No,
government does this all the time. It's just
not at
most of
all.
them are not so powerful, not so prominent. They don't have a Q score of 100%. Not everybody in the world knows who they are, and the government's able to take them down. Trump is a guy. Like him, love him, hate, love him, whatever it is. This is a guy who deserves all of the same constitutional protections that you and I have. But more importantly, what Joe is representing here is not Trump's constitutional protections. And that must be reiterated, is the constitutional protection of you and I as citizen journalists, as someone who has something to learn and something to share with someone else, and an opportunity to do so, to walk into a government building and say, hey, I have a goddamn right to do this. I have a right to be here, to record this, to share this with the world, to let them know what is going in the American legal system behind closed doors, because my right as the press to report on what you're doing will protect everyone's right to their lawyer, to adequate representation, to cross-examine their witnesses, to due process, to substantive due process, to freedom from government corruption through search and seizure, and invalid process, to invalid prosecution, to protect us from the very system that we are in, to protect us from ourselves and our power that we lent to someone else who might use it to abuse us. Joe is out here protecting our rights to listen, our rights to talk, and he is protecting every citizen's right, because if Donald Trump, one of the most powerful and prominent men in America, and indeed the entire world, with all of the resources he has, can be curtailed by one judge's interest in his political speech, if he can be curtailed in how he is allowed to talk about himself in his own defense publicly, then what chance does anybody on earth have
Zero.
to have a fair shot at saying, I didn't do this? The U.S. government, the New York government, Alvin Bragg, a politically motivated DA, none of them can pin this on me, because I had every right to do what I did, and everything they're saying that I didn't do is wrong. And here's why, is because they're political animals that stand to only profit in a way that would be disgusting in the private sector. It'd be even worse in a church or a school or anywhere else. It's political exploitation at the highest level. Alvin Bragg is masturbating nightly to the possibility that he gets conviction of Donald Trump, because he becomes the next attorney general, the next Supreme Court justice, dare I say the next president of the United States, if he wins. And it's gross how much power that gives him and how much motivation it is. If we don't recognize that, we don't recognize the need of the citizens to be protected in their rights, then we recognize nothing at all about the Constitution. Joe's the one guy out here of all of us retards streaming online. Joe says, hey, I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to do this thing that's more important than a stream, than a rant, than a tweet, than anything else that brings him money. He's going to put himself, his reputation, his dollars on the line and say, this matters. So guys, give, send, go, /ungag Trump. Forget me, forget everything you know, and think about me. Think about the importance of what this means to everybody out there, because I'm not doing it. Barnes isn't doing it. Viva isn't doing it. Runkle, Sean, Legal Mindset, Legal Vices. I love all these people. They're all great. None of us are doing it. Joe's here doing it. He's going to the judge in his own jurisdiction and saying, hey, knock this shit off. Here it is. givesandgo.com /ungag Trump. Fight for the First Amendment. Fight for your rights. Let Joe represent us. He's a good dude, smart dude. He's a firebrand. But at the end, damn it, at the end of the day, you know what you're getting with Joe? What you're getting is a good man of good character who's honest, and agree with him or disagree with him. You know where he stands. He respects where you stand. Joe, my man, how you doing, buddy?
All right. I'll see you all. You can watch me on Monday if you want. I will be streaming at a Good Logic. So someone's going to be streaming it for me. But
you're on YouTube and Rumble, right?
I'm on YouTube and Rumble. Yes.
Guys, Good Logic, YouTube and Rumble.
I'm at 96,000. Somehow, even with doing this, YouTube manages to suppress me from crossing 100.
How have you not made it to 100,000 yet?
I don't know.
I'm about to create 4,000 bot accounts just to subscribe to you.
You're awesome, my brother. It was great hanging out with you tonight, my friend.
Thanks, dude. We got to talk more. We have to have a show that, you know, like not on a specific topic, but some good stuff.
You got it.
Let me know. Talk to me. I've been reclusive. It's all me. for months and months and months, and I'm
That's all
getting
right.
out of that
glad.
shell. So hit
I
me
wanna
up.
s
I'd love to come on your show.
Will do, my brother. Thank you so much, my friend.
Good luck, my friend. Let me know if I can do anything else to help.
All right. Have a good night.
Peace.
Peace. Godspeed.
Oh my goodness, I love that guy.